There are many commonly used abbreviations and acronyms that are used in the world. I came across this image on the internet. My mom thinks LOL means lots of love. She texted me, "Your grandmother just died, LOL." Most of you here probably understand what LOL, laughing out loud, means, but other different generations and people do not. Using shortened phrases like abbreviations and acronyms can actually have a lot of impacts in our lives. According to Professor D. Williams with psychologicalscience.org, abbreviations and acronyms can cause miscommunication. Whether between friends or family, customers and businessmen, these abbreviations and acronyms can interfere with our conversation and we might misunderstand each other. One of the more common instances you'll face miscommunication is through texting. There's an instance when I was texting one of my Singaporean friends. They sent me this message: the letter U, RLLY, needed, well, ATB. I was confused but kind of lazy to search up all the meanings of these abbreviations, so I just guessed and just said, "That's cool, thanks," in reply. And they sent back a question mark. So then I finally just went to go search up the meaning of these abbreviations, and guess what? It actually means "you really need it, well, all the best." There's a very obvious miscommunication between the both of us. The American Psychological Association manual states that to maximize clarity, use abbreviations sparingly. This means that abbreviations and acronyms actually provide very little of the information and can be misunderstood very easily. Another thing abbreviations and acronyms can do is cause feelings of alienation. Imagine this scenario. You're in a group chat with a couple of your friends, and they all seem to be having a lot of fun. They're texting and always sending laughing emojis back and forth. But the only issue is you can't seem to understand anything they're saying. They're using unfamiliar abbreviations and texts that just don't seem to make sense. It'll probably make you feel very excluded, right? Well, that's something abbreviations can do. They can alienate those who don't understand and make them feel really excluded. In an experiment conducted by the Association of Psychological Science, they gave 98 college students a recruitment message to work for a fitness organization. There were two types. One half read type 1 with all spelled out abbreviations, while the other half read type 2 that didn't spell out any of the abbreviations that were used in the message. And then afterwards, all 98 students were tested for their levels of belonging, self-control, self-esteem, level of understanding, and if they were willing to participate in the fitness organization. Those who read the first type had higher levels of belonging, self-control, self-esteem, level of understanding, and more participants who were willing to join the organization compared to type 2. This proves that hard-to-read text with a lot of abbreviations and acronyms can make people feel very excluded and not willing to participate since they cannot relate to the subject. But we can't say abbreviations and acronyms are completely bad for you though. If they were, it wouldn't be so commonly used, right? These terms help you type and write faster and more efficiently, and they take up less space. And they're very helpful throughout your everyday life. But using these terms too often decreases your language ability. When I was around 8 years old, I got my first phone. My mom told me to never use abbreviations ever when I was texting friends or family or just at all. And I couldn't use common terms like IDK, I don't know, and WDYM, what do you mean? And then finally, on my 12th birthday, my mom lifted the rule, and I started using abbreviations more and more often throughout my everyday life. And then suddenly, I will run into issues where I can't spell out a word instantly because I'll think of the substitute or the abbreviation first. So according to Professor Muhammad J. Warsi with Aligarh Muslim University, he says that since everyone texts very often, their continual use of improper grammar or use of language can translate to their day-to-day. People can be so habituated with using these shortcuts in texting that it severely impacts one's knowledge on correct grammar and vocabulary. So to sum it all up, shortened terms and phrases affect our lives. They're very convenient but can be a stress to others who don't understand. People will not be able to process information with too many terms and can feel alienated in situations. And it also decreases your English grammar and spelling if you use it too often. So after this research, I realized I needed to lay off my abbreviations and acronyms because I use it a lot. And if you know me, every time I text someone, I'm using some weird phrase like IDK. Some advice for you: decrease your use of abbreviations and acronyms so that you won't make mistakes like before in the tweet before.